Hello and welcome to my video. Me, the young authoritarian, people can change and acceptance. This video is probably going to be more of like a Rambo rant of mad ramblings rather than a consistent, coherent video. But we'll see how we go. So firstly, when I was younger, I always tried to make things basically as black and white as I could, just to make things simple so you can easily choose a yes, no, right, wrong answer. That's why I really enjoy mathematics. However, because the second you start dealing with people, even when you tell someone a yes, no answer, even that can get ambiguous and you can get various misresults. I remember a really funny example when I said to my friend, okay, I'll meet you at 11, and they wanted to meet me at 12, and they heard 12 and I heard 11, so obviously I'm ringing my friend up at the meeting spot at 11 o'clock, like, where the fuck are you, mate? Like, seriously? And he's like, no, we definitely agreed on 12. However, you can have as much black and white thinking as you like. The world lives within a nice grey area. So, how was I a young authoritarian? When I used to play various games, I was playing this one game, and I actually managed to create a massive guild alliance, and also the guild that I had, I basically imposed a ridiculous amount of rules on all the members joining. At the time of playing the game, I was one of the top players, so my sort of rationale was, well, if you want to play with me, you need to adhere to my rules, and I will hold you to a very high standard. If you don't want to meet the standard, join another guild. Now, the reason, looking back on it, I even class myself as authoritarian is just that maybe the extent that I went was maybe every guild or every social group or any kind of group has some sort of rules, limitations or boundaries. However, as I was in charge, perhaps I was taking things far too far. I was going to say, one of the most sort of authoritarian rules, which to be honest for me was a bit of a mandatory, basically, even though I played on an international server with international people, I would say, okay, you need to join like voice chat, full stop. If we're doing anything remotely complicated, has to be voice chat. We're not typing. By the time we type, we're probably all going to do. You can't type in the middle of most boss fights. It's just retarded. And I'll be honest, lots of people just wouldn't join my guild, or I'd even tell people who really wanted to join my guild, I was like, okay, you got to join voice chat, and they were like, nope, okay, well you're not allowed to join then. And also anyone who someone else invited, I'd say, okay, you got to join voice chat. They were like, no, okay, I'm kicking you out of the guild. That's my main guild rule. Goodbye. Okay, perhaps I didn't tell you how sort of bad I was. So let's say we was doing a boss, and let's say the boss fight wasn't going very well. I'd probably at some point in the fight go full authoritarian and then dictate what every player needs to do at exactly what second, what moment. And then if they fuck it up, I'd be like screaming and shouting like, oh, you fucked up, we're all gonna die. Or be like, oh, you're a retard, like, oh, you can't even do this easy stuff. And obviously they would immediately rebut with, well, you've been playing the game a lot longer than me. And I'd be like, well, you didn't have to join my guild. And obviously there was a bit of an argument. And the trouble is, going for authoritarian, most of the time, we would indeed win, because obviously I had so much experience. However, the net result would be I probably fucked off all the people who was there, and they'd be like, well, I don't really appreciate you sort of screaming and shouting at me. I'm just trying to play a game, and I'm trying to have fun. And obviously I would be replying, well, I want to win, and I don't have fun wasting my time and losing. So obviously there sometimes there's a bit of an impasse of the philosophy of how someone wanted to play the game or what they considered fun. Because some people, when they play games, they're not taking it super serious. They're just sort of messing about, doing this, doing that. But as I say, like, look, if you want to piss about and play with retards, join someone else. If you, as I said, the thing is, as I was quite well known and stuff, everyone would know what I'd like before they team up with me. That's what my issue was. Like, the reason why you want to play with me is because I'm a veteran player. I'm going to expect you to play to a reasonable standard. I'm not expecting you to play to my standard. That'd be insane. I can only expect someone to play to my standard if they're as experienced as me. And then, yeah, sometimes I'd play with really experienced players. And then I'd realise, oh my fucking god, like, I'm 4 or 5 times better than this person. And I'd be like, oh my god, you could have done this, you could have done that, you could have been so much more efficient on your moves. So much more efficient in your playstyle. And then they'd be like, oh fuck you, I've been playing as long as you. We won, didn't we? The boss is dead. Then what's the issue? So after a period of time, after I sort of relaxed the guild and I gave up with the guild alliance, it was too much work. I had like 500 members. It was crazy. It's just crazy amount of work and trying to get everyone to team up. And also, the other thing which I sort of realised with my authoritarianness is I wasn't really accepting people. I'm just trying to... The whole point of being an authoritarian is you control the situation and you control people to try to secure an outcome. Now, whilst you could argue it's very pragmatic in the sort of short term, in the long term, it's not really going to work out. Like, for example, let's say if I'm shouting at someone like, oh, you fucked up and blah, blah, blah. In the long term, they may take issue with that. Or even in the short term, they'll be like, oh, alright, fuck you then. I'll just play with someone else who isn't a douchebag. So, I would say the way I've sort of changed is now I'm a little bit older. Now I don't care as much and I'm not half as critical as I was before. Because the other fundamental is I just try to accept people for who they actually are and not how I would like them to be. Now, this is obviously a standard that obviously I would like other people to adhere to. However, I know most people won't. Most people, when they see a tiny little issue or chink with someone they don't like, chink in their armour, they'll just be like, oh no, this person does this, therefore I dislike them. Because we could all be quick to dismiss. And each person is basically a complex mix of sort of nature, nurture, personality traits, characteristics. And some of these we can change. We can sometimes change very dramatically. As I said, I've gone from full authoritarian to basically full free expression and just sort of accept most people for most things. It's funny, and everyone's got their own quirks and habits. There's still some stuff I'm told that I do some stuff even now that I used to always do since I was like a kid. Not that I remember what those things are. I was going to say, one of my funny quirks is I really can't remember many sort of childhood things. Like, my brother was telling me the other day that, oh, can you remember we used to go to London every weekend? I was like, nope, not at all. And my brother was giving me all these details about how we used to go to the London market and buy stuff cheap. And he was going into great details. I don't remember any of it whatsoever. Now the thing with me, I do try to cut people's slack. I obviously, let's say I see someone being really authoritarian, I'll try to sort of appeal to them and say, like, look, it's almost nearly pointless to try to sort of control everyone, control the situation, control people. You can only do it for a limited period of time, unless you really are some sort of position of authority that can dictate. But then, even then, no one's really gonna appreciate that. especially if your authoritarianness isn't very rational. It's quite often when you're being sort of authoritarian, you'll be like, okay, this is the rule starting from now, go. And you just set an arbitrarily rule. And everyone's like, okay, well, we've been doing this rule for 2 weeks. I don't think it's working out. And then they're like, oh, you're challenging my authority. Well, fuck you. The rule is working out. It's working awesome. It's exactly how I want it to be. Therefore, in my mind, it's working out. And it's like, well, let's just take a step back and let's hear them out and see how they go. The trouble with when you're being authoritarian, you're not really open to criticism. And I do like a bit of the old criticism. The funny thing with criticism is the people who criticise me the most are my friends and family. That's why I don't really understand when people like, oh, like some people, if you criticise a person and they've got a friend, they're like, oh, they're my friend. And I was like, I really don't understand that argument. It's like, I couldn't give a shit. And also, I like to criticise people to their face. So with insults, I always prefer an insult to the face and behind the back, because then you can possibly do something. If someone's got an issue with you, why would you not just deal with them directly and say, like, look, I've got an issue, or I think you've done this, or you said that, or you did that, and I don't think that's very fair. Obviously, they could just go, oh, fuck you, I don't care. I don't care what you think. And even if you do from that point on have a disagreement, that's still better than chatting shit behind people's back. Okay, I believe that's enough rambling on. Thank you for listening, watching, and goodbye.